Welcome to the beautiful city of Athens, the gateway to the Tennessee Valley, a city rooted in deep community relationships and built on a rich tradition of small local business and the very best of the human spirit. As Athens embraces the future, the signs of progress are in full bloom. Join us as we discover the bright spots in this charming southern city that we call home. This is Hometown Heartbeat, Athens. What's going on, everybody? Today is Wednesday. Today is Wednesday. It is Hometown Heartbeat number 45. This is our 45th consecutive work day. Well, I think we missed one in the middle there, Connor. Do we miss one in the middle? I think I just got fed up on one and said I'm out. Probably.
Yeah, but we didn't miss many.
We didn't miss many. We missed one. Connor, how are you today, buddy?
Doing good. I'll put myself on the screen so that everybody's happy. Hello.
Really, I'm the only one that... Well, maybe your mom. Is your mom watching today? Because she probably wants to see you. So how are you feeling today, buddy? You feeling good?
Feeling good. Yeah, I actually just took another one of those AP tests. This one worked. So now I just got to take that makeup. So they're getting their systems under control. They just had to sacrifice my test and 10,000 others before they could get it all ironed out.
Connor's he's not bitter. He's not bitter, folks. Okay, today we have a very special privilege, and by privilege I mean Steve Cogdale is actually watching today's show, and I'm kidding. Our guest today is one of my oldest friends that I've not connected with in a long time, but he kind of grew up leading our youth group and making a mockery out of himself with our friend Justin Kincaid. And so I reached out to him and said, "Hey man, we need to get on here and talk about, we don't really know. We don't know what we're going to do." But without further ado, Ronald Gulick is joining us today. Ronald, how are you, buddy?
Up? What's up, Zach? How are you? Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, are you kidding me? You paid me enough.
Yeah, I definitely did. I need to pay you too. So.
Oh, hey, man. Steve Cogdale's watching, dude.
You know, it's funny. Like, do you know how well me and Steve Cogdale hang out now?
No, that's weird to me.
I know, because he's 10 years my junior, like you, and you guys went to college together.
Yeah, he saw a lot of parts of me that I don't want. I'm thankful for Jesus in this moment. And he's the Zach Walker that Steve Cogdale knows is probably not the one that exists. In fact, I know it's not the one that exists any longer. And I quite frankly would be embarrassed to hear any of the story. I've tried really hard to look. I did a really good job of making sure I didn't remember a lot of those days, but like I really want to forget those days now.
Well, you know, it's funny. I mean, from that standpoint, you know how. I mean, Steve probably hasn't changed that much. I definitely would say he's probably matured some, just like we all have, right? But man, you know how psyched he is right now that you're talking about him. I mean, he is.
Oh, dude,
he is
Steve Cogdale right now. Hold on a minute. Let me see if I can find this picture. I'm gonna send this picture to Connor and have him put it on the screen if I can find it. But I think Steve Cogdale is probably like. I mean, he's so like just fired up right now that I mean. Dude, this is his moment right now. You and I on this podcast is his moment.
Well, he texted me. He texted me at 3:59. He said, "You're going to be on Zach Walker's podcast." He said, "Are you going to give me a shout out?" And I was like, "Dude, we'll see." I was like, "Calm down."
Hey,
so
Cody Grubbs just joined.
I had to.
Cody Grubbs just joined too. You remember old Cody?
Oh my God.
My running partner, my best friend, my ride or die.
Yeah.
Have you seen him? He looks like he ate a child. He's huge.
No. Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's funny that you even call me friend, and that's cool that you do. I mean, it's nobody's problem. But yeah, I was a youth. I was kind of like the what do they call it? A youth volunteer, and you were in the youth group. So it was my job to keep you safe. But I don't know that I did that very well.
Well, I mean, look, I was a big pill to swallow. Okay, like I was hard to handle, and so you know. You were like the youngest volunteer though. Like you were more like the guy that like you like very well could have still been in the youth group, but you were also old enough by legal age to be a chaperone, even though you fit more into the other category. I
think I could still pass for being in a youth group. I mean, I'm close to like high school looking, I think.
You could definitely pull off look, if I shave my beard, I look like I'm 11. But no, I'm trying to find this picture of Steve Cogdale on my computer. I need to go here and do it. I'm just gonna have to do it.
I tell you what though, I was a little nervous leading up to this, man. I brushed my hair. I brushed my teeth. I even changed my shirt for you. Um,
Oh,
so
for me?
this is my first podcast. I'm like a podcast virgin.
Well, podcasting, though, in all fairness, podcasting typically doesn't have video.
No,
Um,
I guess that's true. That's
so
true.
even then, like brushing your hair and getting your hair did and all that, like, I mean, but I do, no, but look, I mean, I appreciate it a ton. Don't get me wrong. Like, I mean, I'm glad that you felt like I was someone that you needed to spruce up for.
Well, you definitely did. I even read an article out of Forbes that says the 15 what is it called? 15 tips for being on point as a podcast guest appearance.
Oh, pull
So,
that article up. Let's talk through those.
I don't know that
Oh, I can find it.
I,
Don't worry.
it's under Forbes. I mean, I have it right here.
Okay, well, let's talk through it. How many of them are worth a darn? Let's go. Number one.
Number one, prepare your message. And see that doesn't really count for us because you didn't give me any clue about what you wanted to talk about. So
Well,
so
I mean, it really is a
I don't
stream
know
of
if that's
consciousness. I mean, it's, so, I mean, what is your message, Ronald? You have an opportunity to share a message. What is it? What's your message? Prepare it. Drugs are bad, okay?
Yeah. Don't do drugs. I don't know, man. Like I don't even know what my message is. If I had to shoot one out, I mean, obviously it's Jesus saves, right? That's
Oh,
the top
yeah.
message.
Amen.
But after that, I've just been I'm a middle-aged guy that doesn't have. I mean, I have direction in my life, but I don't know what I want to do when I get older. So I think that falls into a lot of categories.
So let's pause on the article for a minute, and I've got to hold on. Let me pull the stream back up because I want to see the reaction. I have officially located, found, sent, and prepared this photograph of Steve Cogdale, and so I'm glad he reached out today because I probably wouldn't have put him on blast until he started corresponding with us. But now that he has, go ahead, hit it. Right? Scroll that up. Make that bigger. Make that bigger. You can make it bigger. Scroll in on it. Scroll in on it, baby. Come on. Oh, it's not getting any bigger. There we go. Look at him. Look at that mean chunk of man in the middle. So for those of you that don't know Steve, that's me on the left at like a healthy weight, which nobody's seen me at in 20 years. That's our buddy Chris on the right. And then right there in the middle is one Steve Cogdell. So for those of you who don't know who we're talking about, that stud muffin right there in the middle, that's the guy we're talking about. Steve, I hope you enjoy this, buddy. You can pull that down, Connor.
He's got to be 30 pounds heavier too. I mean, he doesn't look like that anymore. He looks much more.
He only looks mildly sick.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, fair enough.
The funny thing is, Zach, he has that same picture. I've seen that picture before.
Aww.
You've been the conversation of a couple of backyard beer and barbecues with Steve Cogdell before.
I would like to hear about those conversations, if I'm being honest with you. I'd like to know the legend, if there is any. Except for I say that, and then I think about my life in college, and I was like, there's absolutely nothing good that came out of that. Like, I can't, like, Steve just comments here, like, the day that picture that I put out was the day he met his beautiful wife, right? And so he, like, that picture is exciting for him, right? But for me, I point back at college, and I'm like, well, I got a lot of debt. I didn't get a degree. I got kicked off the baseball team. Well, what good happened to me? Nothing. You know why? Because I was an idiot. Oh, Steve Cogdale wants to call. Okay, hold on, Steve. I'm gonna message you my cell phone number, and then you can call in and join us because my phone is connected. Let's
Big
see.
Steve.
256.
You know how psyched he is right now, Zach.
Yes. This is his. This Mama, he made it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's his moment.
Oh, absolutely. This is his 15 minutes of fame. You and I are going to have more 15 minutes of fame because, I mean, just look at our faces. But
I've definitely got a face for radio.
No, man, you're a good-looking guy.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Oh, hold on. Let's see here. Let me get him all. Steve, hold on a minute. I'm having Bluetooth issues. Give me a second. Pairing. Okay, what's happening here? Do you want to, Steve, hold while we figure this out? I appreciate that, big guy. I mean, I like to think, I am. I'm going to look, we're going to pause for a second because I'm going to have to reset this board. So hang on 2 seconds and you're going to lose sound, but you're going to see us. But this is worth doing, okay? See here. Yeah. And Bluetooth is back. Let's see if Steve is with us. Hold on a minute. Steve is with us.
Steve.
What's up, Walker?
There he is. What's going on, buddy?
Not much. Good to hear you, man.
It's good to hear you, buddy. It's been a long time.
I know. I hear from Ron way too much, so good to hear from you.
So hey,
What?
it's
Dude,
Connor.
shut up,
It's
man.
Steve SteveCogdell for the graphic. All right, all right. Dude. Look, Steve, you even get your own graphic, big guy.
Welcome aboard, Steve. We're
Dude,
glad to have
this
you.
could be the highlight of my Corona quarantine. I'll be honest.
I mean, I don't know that that's saying a lot, if I'm being honest, but I do appreciate the whatever level of compliment that is. Steve, I got to ask you a question
But
because
yeah,
it's
I do have some good Walker stories. But
well, that's what I was
don't
gonna.
know if
That's what
they'll
I was
translate
just
to the
about to
podcast.
ask. I was just about to ask this. I want to hear about my most embarrassing. I mean, I've got a child and a wife and a church family that I have a platform, and my life is very different today than it was. So let's not go overboard here because sin is sin is sin. But what is your favorite Zach Walker story that doesn't involve? Well, you know the line that doesn't cross the line.
No,
Well, I'll give you
Zach.
my first
Steve does not know the
positive
line.
Walker story is so when I first got to Harding, our college, I didn't want to go there. My parents kind of forced me to go there, so I was walking to the dorm, ready to go home, and Walker showed up in his truck, didn't even know who I was, and asked me to get in. Said he's going to Sonic, and we were friends ever since.
That's pretty. I mean, that sounds kind.
That was a
Yeah,
kind
you picked up
story.
me and
Zach,
Horn. I don't know if you
were you
remember
older
Horn.
than Steve?
Am I older than Steve? No, Steve. Did you graduate in 2005?
What's up, buddy?
Did you graduate in 2005?
2004, so I was
So
1 year older than you.
he's actually older than me.
So
I
how
went
are,
to community college.
if he's
for a year.
older than you, how were you?
So he went
How
to
did you already
community.
there?
So he went to community college for a year because I'm hearing it. Are you having a hard time hearing him? Because he went to community college for a year and then came to Harding, which was my freshman year at Harding. Was in 2006. So I
So
mean,
I would say
yeah.
my favorite Walker memory, and I was actually talking to Joe Sostek about this fairly recently, was during Pledge Week. We pledged together in the same fraternity
oh gosh,
or club or whatever you want to call it. And Walker was getting yelled at, and you were on
I
crutches,
know where this is going.
and you threw the crutches at Richie.
Yeah, the
You got
pledge
kicked
master.
out of- You got kicked out of Pledge Week for like 20 minutes until they told you to come back in.
Yeah, no, I slammed. I would have probably beat him with one of them if he would have gotten any closer. But in that moment, he got. I mean, yeah, no, I absolutely. I had just torn my ACL, lost my scholarship. I mean, that was like the worst. That was literally the lowest point. Well, that's not true. Drugs will do terrible things. But at that point in my life, it was the lowest point in my life. And no, yeah, I remember that very. And if you don't know Richie Kimberly, man, I hope he sees this one day. Actually, Scotty lives just north of us, and I've actually spoken to him semi recently, as he's an attorney, and so I've needed the services of one of those in the relatively recent past. And so Richie is, for those of you that don't know Richie, just imagine Mr. Incredible, but at the Smurfs height, and that's Richie. And so Richie's a great dude. Don't get me wrong, love Richie to death. I would literally jump in front of a speeding train for the guy in a minute. But at the
And he
moment,
was 35 and still going to college.
yeah, that's where I was headed. He was 35 and he was still in college, pledge
Zach,
mastering
The
18-year-olds.
question is, would you jump in front of a speeding train for Steve?
Oh, well, I wouldn't have to. He's like a cat. Like he's so. I mean, you should see him play intramural sports. The dude was an athletic specimen that could have. I mean, he wouldn't need me to jump in front of the train because of his athleticism. He would elude the train on his own accord. But if necessary, in a heartbeat,
By
I would
turning
hold his
sideways?
rope. I mean, I just would.
I
I
appreciate
mean,
it.
they
I
do
don't
call this
appreciate it.
hometown heartbeat. So.
That's right. No, it's the pulse of Americana, Steve. How do you like that tagline?
I did drop 50 points with Walker on C-team basketball. So
That is
we were
a
kind
fact.
of studs back in our day.
That is a fact. And by the way, Cogdell, your cell phone's still saved in my phone. I just looked at that. I still have your phone number. That's crazy. My phone number's changed like 3,000 times since college. That's a weird stability in my life was an odd thing, you know?
I know Ron loves being center of attention, so I really hate stealing his limelight here.
Dude, please, Steve, you're not stealing anything. Yeah, my face is on camera. It's only your voice.
That is true.
So
We could arrange for that to happen, though.
100%.
It's a small world, man. Ron's one of my best friends at home, and Walker, you're one of my best friends at Harding my freshman year. So small world.
No, Steve, I'm not one of your best friends. Restate that.
Ron is my best friend.
Thank you.
So who have you heard from, Cogdell? I mean, have you talked to Horn? Have you who do you still keep in touch with? Because my tenure at Harding, for those of you that don't know my testimony or my story, like my tenure at Harding was brief. It was sweet, but it was brief, and I was asked to relocate, and I did, and then I came back again. I think I went to 4 classes the entire 2.5 years I was there, and I was an absolute idiot. And so my college experience is probably a low light of my life. So I'd like to talk to old friends of mine to figure out what the normal kids did when they finished school and graduated and went about their normal lives and didn't go down the path of whatever that I went down. So, who do you keep in touch with, Cogdell?
So I saw Melissa just join. Melissa posted.
Yeah, that's that was like an arranged
time.
marriage that didn't work out for her and I, but she's the sweetest girl in the world. Love her to death. Love her family. Just wished her mama happy birthday. If you're watching, mama number 2, happy birthday a few days back. Melissa and I actually share, her birthday are a couple days apart. But she's awesome. She's one of my family's closest friends from back in the day. Who else? Who else do you keep up with?
Joe Sostak, Adam Purvis. That's probably about it.
No John Horn?
Remember him? No, I don't talk to Horn very much. Andrew Kubro lives up here.
Really?
Talk to him all the time.
So you know who is the athletic director at UAH here where we live is, and I just freaking lost his name. It's Cade. He was real big buddies with Kubro and those guys. No, that's Travis. Kate. Oh, what's his freaking? Hold on a minute. I'm gonna find the name. I feel like an idiot that I brought that up and then didn't. And then Cade Smith. You remember Cade Smith? He and Travis.
That rings a bell, but no.
So him and Travis and Kubro were super tight. And then Big John Price was in my wedding, and so I've always wondered about Greg because that dude was a mountain of a man. But he's obviously not going to ever use the old face box. So I've wondered where he's at nowadays. But outside of that, no, I try to put college in a box and bury it in the backyard and never pull it back out. You know.
Yeah, the last time
Not
I saw
me,
Walker,
man.
he had
I'd go back to
5
college.
trash bags outside his dorm room.
Hold on a minute. You were both what last time you saw me? What was going on in my dorm room?
You had 5 trash bags of all your stuff outside your dorm room, packed out, ready to roll.
I hope my wife and son don't watch this episode. That's all I'm saying. This one won't go in the archive for little Zayden when he grows up. He won't ever know these. No, I'm kidding. It's look, Steve, thanks for joining us, buddy. Let's do it again, man. But appreciate you calling in, and it's good talking with you.
Yep,
See you,
absolutely.
Steve.
We'll catch up.
All right, we'll see you, buddy.
See you, Ron.
Oh,
he's not
man.
joking about this being the highlight of his quarantine. So.
Oh, I don't doubt that. No, that's what I wanted to talk about. You crazy Northerners, man. Let me tell you something. What's going on up there? What, y'all got a little bunch of commie governors running around, not going to do anything about that, or what? Does freedom not mean anything up there?
No, is there nothing? I mean, is there anything we can do? I mean, I've been talking about this to a lot of places. There was somebody posted on Facebook about, it said if 80% of people wore face masks, we wouldn't have to quarantine. And I was just like, well, I don't know if I believe in that, but at the same time, it's almost like forcing me to do something that I don't want to do. I don't know. It's an interesting topic, and certainly I think up in here in Northern Virginia, there's a lot of people that were okay with with quarantining for a little bit, but we're kind of past it. I know that I'm past it, and I know that a lot of the small businesses that I talk to and some that I frequent, including my the CrossFit gym that I go to. They're certainly
he
past
worked
it,
out. He CrossFits. He's the real man. Go ahead. Look at him. All 137 pounds of him.
Oh, please, dude. 185. Just getting out of the shower, soaking wet, but it's still 185. But I don't even know. I'm at the point where I'm kind of throw my hands up, and ultimately I think we're starting to open back up. June 10th, I think, is the day. My wife is a children's minister at our church, and she's also the one that's, I've been blessed greatly for her to be able to stay at home and homeschool the kids during this as well. But it's, I don't know that there's anything we can do.
Look,
right
you mean
now,
to tell you what Thomas Jefferson said?
But, huh?
Do you mean to tell you what Thomas Jefferson said?
Yeah, tell me.
The
tell
tree
me.
of
Speak it.
liberty from time to time must be refreshed by the blood of tyrants. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And
Yeah, you can't.
I butchered that quote, by the way. I absolutely, man, I was so geared up for that. Oh man, and I absolutely, hold on a minute. Tree of Liberty quote on good. What? By the way, do you understand? There are a group of kids that are growing up today that have never lived without Google.
Oh, I know. I mean, never lived without Google. Never lived without a smartphone.
Do you remember what back in the old youth group days, the Nokia Snake flip phone? My mom had the Razor when
Yep.
it was cool,
Yeah.
and then they tried to reboot it as
Everybody
a
with the Razor
touchscreen.
was rich people.
Oh, shut up!
So, yeah, definitely the rich people that had the Razor. I had the cheap Nokia that they gave me for free. Have you seen that new Razor?
That's what I was just talking about. Yeah.
It's pretty crazy.
Okay, so to be clear, I didn't butcher the quote too much. Thomas Jefferson said, "The tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants." And so, where we've landed on this show, Ron, and again, this has turned into a semi got some political in it, but it's not. I mean, that's not our goal, is to be a political show. But again, we have given room for everyone to believe whatever it is that they believe. And our number one response to everything that's happened thus far has been, show me the science, prove it with fact, come to me with something that's not conjecture or fear. And as Americans, we have a choice. This country was built on a tyrannical government overstepping its boundaries, and a group of people saying that's not okay with us, and here's what we're willing to do. Now, that being said, I'm not here advocating for the Revolutionary War of 2000 and what, like, that's not what I'm saying. But as Americans, we absolutely have to take into account the fact that the responsibility for where this country goes lies squarely on the shoulders of those who are a part of the republic, on the republic itself. And so you say, what can we do? And I say, I think there's a lot that we can do. And the frustrating part is that like, yes, it's not in the sense of, as Americans, we want our vote to matter. We want to be able to do something and make a difference. And the reality is, making a change is a very long, arduous, hard process that takes time. And so I think, to answer your question, like, you're right. Can we do anything right now to change what can happen? Absolutely not. But I would encourage everyone on both sides, doesn't matter which side you're on. And again, I advocated the lockdown until it was no longer necessary. And then I absolutely said, show me the science. So for everyone who's out there saying this guy's the right wing nut job, like, that's not this. You don't know anything about me. And I promise you, I'm not that guy, but I am a small business owner. I am a constitutionally conservative Christian that also believes immigrants are the orphans and the widows that Jesus talks about throughout the Bible. So don't come at me with that racist crap, because I'm going to destroy you. I'm not over here chanting build that wall. I'm not that guy. So don't play that card with me, because that's not who I am. Who I am is an educated male business owner that wants to see support of science and evidence before the government starts choosing who wins and who loses in the economy. Because the reality is, money and greed drives everything that happens in this world. And the faster you can accept that, the faster you can understand the world we live in. Am I right or wrong?
No, I think you're right. I mean, definitely from the money standpoint. I mean, money makes the difference in a lot of different things. And I would agree with that. One of the things that you brought up, though, that I've always wondered about, don't you think that most people are centrists? I mean, I don't know if centrist is the right word, but I feel like I fall pretty center of the road. I mean,
so
I voted
explain
for
that.
Trump. I don't.
You can't you can't vote for Trump and be in the center of anything.
Well,
you vote for Trump, you're way over there.
Well, that's what some people would say. I mean, and that's what the media, I think, would have you to believe. But when I sit down and talk with people, anybody, like, I mean, I sat down and talked with an atheist the other day, and I was able to find, like, extreme common ground with her, and it was just a matter of, like, it makes me realize more and more that the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? So the people on the left that are going to yell the loudest, they're going to get heard. The people on the right that yell the loudest are going to get heard. All us in the center that really truly have I don't know, I say a middle of the road, like, normal mind, we're not screaming as much, because it's like, you're an idiot. So what am I, I don't want to get involved in that conversation. And I've definitely been drug into those conversations. And I would certainly say that some people, when I get in those conversations, would probably think that I was right leaning or right wing, but I'm really not. Like I'm perfectly happy with coming up with solutions that try to work for everybody. But I just don't think when you have 300 million people that one solution works for everybody.
No, that's so good. And what you and I are saying, yours is an idealistic view or approach to what I'm saying, because I'm saying exactly the same thing, but I'll put it in my words, because maybe, and I am, look, I don't know, we just released a highlight of the first 40 something days of this show, and it starts off and Connor edited it, so I have to give this one to him, but it starts off with me looking at the camera. I had one of my best friends was the guest. He co-hosts with me once a week or so, and I said, am I jaded towards the government? He goes, are you jaded? And I said, no, man, I'm not jaded. But if my girlfriend ran around, with 3 or 4 different guys 20 different times, I probably wouldn't trust her either, kind of like the government, right? And so to be fair and to start my explanation, yes, I know that I'm jaded. And I know that comes across because I'm white, because I live in the South, because I drive a lifted 4-wheel drive pickup truck, because I like guns, okay? Those things alone. 95% of the population, if I would believe the media, would immediately hate me. If I believed the media. And so what we've been saying on here from day one, the most dangerous thing for, and again, it goes back to greed. Power and money is the root of all, right? And so those that have power get greedy. They never want to give it up. And so the reason we have problems in Washington is because we have politicians who want to make they want to get rich off of public service. Public service, they should view what they do as a firefighter or a policeman or whatever in terms of truly serving the public, and they should do it for a time. It shouldn't be a career. There should be no such thing as a career. Term limits in the House and in the Senate would change the course of history. It's never going to happen, but that's the reality. And so again, if we as Americans, what they want is for us to stay right where we're at. You got 5% of the conservatives that are what everyone views as the Trump crowd, okay? That's 5%. I want you people, and yes, you're an idiot. I want you idiots out there to know that 5% of the people are over there chanting, build that wall, build that wall, build that wall. Like, that's 5% of the people, okay? And in the same way, 5% of the left is over here. Well, I mean, if you ask Bernie, he'd say he probably only had 5% support anyway. So that's how far left, right? And so at the end of the day, the other, that's 5 and 5 is 10. The other 90 falls in a very reasonable range. Now, do I believe in probably what some of that 90 believes when it comes to X, Y, or Z? Absolutely not. Where I stand on where life begins is a tenet of my life that is I am unwilling to compromise in any way. I am unwilling. I will stand before the Lord. I'll give an account for where I stood for that. And what I say today will impact my eternity. And so let me be very clear that where life begins, I am unwilling to waver on what God says about that. But what I am willing to do is give you something on immigration. I'm willing to give you something on maybe guns or maybe fill in the blank. Yeah, do I think we need to change the immigration process? Absolutely. Does it need to be easier for people to come and join this wonderful country that we're so blessed? Absolutely. And so, again, it's all about, to me, the art of the deal, right? And that's where Trump, if these people would understand, he's actually probably more left center than he is right, if you want to be honest. They have an agreeable guy who's willing to make a deal.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. This is kind of backtracking a little bit. Do you think that a lot of politicians started? I mean, I just can't imagine that they started where they're at. I think a lot of times we see politicians and say, okay, well, they're slimy, they're corrupted, they're all that stuff. But like you said about the money thing, money corrupts. Money, and I don't think that Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, or even Mitch McConnell, or whoever, whatever Republican or Democrat you want to throw in there, Trump. I don't think that Trump's not a career politician, but he's definitely been in political roles where he's been controversial. I don't think that they started off where they started off.
No, I think you're absolutely right.
And I also don't think that in their mind they're concocting ways to screw the rest of us. either. I think that they're so, they have their butts or their heads so, stuck so far up their own butts. And I don't say that in a bad way, because people could say that about me too, but they don't think about it that way. So how do you persuade people? And that's the thing is, I mean, from our media standpoint, from Facebook, from anything, we've lost the ability, the human connection to try to persuade anybody to our side and to be persuaded.
Oh, we talk about this all the time on this show. If you were an early viewer, you saw Molly be a part of the show on a daily basis. And Molly had a Bernie sticker on the back of her car. And I love Molly very much. Molly came in and made a huge impact in my life and in this business, and was called to a different job that was significantly better. Dave Golden joining us. Jamie Ritchie, what's going on, guys? But like we got on here and wildly and diabolically disagreed with one another. Like, I'm talking about, you couldn't be more further apart than me and a Bernie sticker person. Okay. I'm just being honest with you. I'm a free market capitalist. So that clearly is not going to jive with a socialist. And so, but we were able to get on here. If you go back to, like, I think it starts at like episode 17 or 18 and moves through that. If you go back to Hometown Heartbeat, episode 17, 18, 19, 20, whatever it is, in that area, Molly and I have conversations on a daily basis where we diabolically oppose one another. And at the end of it, I didn't shoot her, stab her, kill her, throw her in the thing, or call her a racial slur. I high-fived her, told her I loved her, and guess what? I wrote her a paycheck on Friday. We went back to work because that's what America, everybody wants to say America was built on the back of immigrants, or built on the back of fill in the blank. No, America was built on the back of tolerance. Whoa, big word. Watch out. But it's so important. The idea of, I signed up to join an army that would defend whatever they called me to. And I got called on to a war on terror/oil, right? And so at the end of the day, like, what was my response? And so I didn't sign up to do that so that you couldn't believe in Bernie, or you couldn't burn a flag. For the love of God, if I'll catch you burn a flag, I'm probably going to put my hands on you. But you have the right to do that. You have the right to do that. And I went and I signed up to protect that. Now, I also signed up for my right to free speech to tell you you're not going to do that in my presence. But I do want you to be able to do that. Like, America was built on this concept of people. Like, people are inherently good, and they want what's best for the republic and for their fellow human. And for like a week, we saw that in the coronavirus, because even me, the staunchest of whatever, constitutionally conservative, white business owning male, whatever, like, that's, you talk about a nightmare for, like, I'm literally, people lose sleep about people like me on the left-hand side for some unforsaken reason. Don't know why, but apparently we are the boogie monster down here in the South. But like, for the beginning, at the beginning of beard. Well, that's true, but it's a beautiful beard. But at the beginning of this, like, we absolutely advocated for wear your mask, do this, stay in your house. Like, you know why? Because I didn't want old people to die unnecessarily. Did I think it was going to kill me? I've said from the beginning it's not much worse than the flu. Guess what? I'm right. But again, like, I wanted to protect human life because I care about people. Because Jesus said, care about people. Jesus said, love others. I mean, we could go for hours on what Jesus said about people. And so again, it's just this dialogue, or lack thereof, the inability for guys like us to be able to talk to people like them and to achieve any sort of common ground. That's not true. That is simply not true. And the only reason it's true to you is because you believe what you're told, and you're unwilling to have a conversation with people like us. Well,
it goes back to the fact of, I mean, in the middle, I think more people are in the middle. Obviously, the left and the right, the people that hit those very extreme left and rights. I mean, those are the people that I have a problem, with, and problem talking to. I would typically probably side with people more right leaning, like people that are far right, because I tend to sway that direction. But it's almost like, I think you guys were talking about it even yesterday, like, as soon as Michael Vick went from the Atlanta Falcons to the Philadelphia Eagles, the Philadelphia liked him, and Philadelphia fans are horrible. They're the worst fans in the world. I mean, honestly, if you're a Philly fan, I mean, I don't know what is wrong with you, but trying to go to a Philly game here in Washington, D.C., I mean, those guys are the worst. I mean, when it comes to the Flyers or the Eagles or whatever, you guys are the worst. Anyway, so, but I'm sure, but from a Jesus standpoint, I love you. I love you. And if you believe in Jesus, we'll all be in heaven together and there's no teams up there. But it's like the my team mentality.
Yeah.
I know that I have it. And I think part of it is just being self-aware from the standpoint of knowing that, we're all biased, man. We are all biased. We have all been raised in an imperfect world by imperfect people. And our only saving grace, comes down to Jesus Christ and what he did for us on the cross, right?
No, that's a fact.
And that even goes into politics. And,
it's all that should guide your politics. If we're being honest, you should take everything that you believe politically and test it by God's word. Because God's word speaks to the truth of how, like, think about this. It's the playbook for life. It's not the playbook for you can't use it and say, I stand on this as a human, but as a politician, I think I don't like it. Like it's in its hole.
Don't you think Jesus kind of really backed away from politics? I mean, he could. I don't know. I mean, I agree with your statement and I agree with that sentiment, but at some point I kind of think to myself that Jesus, I mean, partly Jesus backed away from politics because he was just like, that's not, in a perfect world, honestly, in a perfect world, I don't think we have a government. If you look back at the Old Testament.
Well, I mean, look, in a perfect world, King Jesus sits on the throne and governs all. Like, he is the perfect king. He's the perfect.
Well, yeah.
So, yeah. I mean, and you're right. Like, in eternity, in heaven, there will be a king. There will be an absolute dictator, and he will sit on his perfect throne with his perfect judgment and be. And so, yeah, you're right. But at the end of the day, like, policy. Let me back up. You're right. Sure. Jesus didn't campaign, okay? And so I'm not trying, but Jesus did give us principles by which we should treat orphans, widows, by which we should treat those that don't look like us. He told us how to treat those with less than us. He told us how to treat the rules. He told us how to interact with the rules. He told us when to stop listening to so he gave us a playbook. Like, I don't think he was talking to politicians. I think he was talking to believers and saying, this is how you follow. This is how you are a kingdom follower and a kingdom civilian or citizen, right? Like, you're going to be a citizen of your government, but you're first and foremost, you're my son or my daughter. And so as my son or my daughter, these are my rules. These rules are first. Second of all, and by the way, if you follow those rules, you find yourself believing in authority, trusting in authority, yielding to authority. I mean, a lot of things that a lot of Christians right now have missed the boat on. By the way, if you're listening and you're a pastor and you're out there trying to just rile people up, racism or coronavirus or whatever, let me tell you something. You've missed the boat. Let me introduce you to Jesus, because he would disagree with most of what it is that you're teaching. In fact, I would say, anyway, I'm not going to dive into that today because we'll be here for hours. But at the end of the day, like, I love our country. Like, I love what God has. Again, we didn't build this. No immigrant built this. God gifted us with this. Like, this was something given to us. Don't get me wrong. Actions had to happen. So when you hear me say that, don't hear me say nobody did anything. That's you and I probably don't operate from the same perspective. If you heard me say that, and then your response was that. So yes, certainly there are actions that men and women have taken for years and years and years to build this, but ultimately none of it happens without him. And so with that, what is our response to that? That's the question. That's really the core of everything we've talked about today. What is our response to this republic as Christians? What is our response to this government as Christians? What is our response to fill in the blank as Christ followers? That's the only thing that matters, Ronald. It's the only thing that matters. What is your response to Jesus?
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think a lot of people miss the boat because we get caught up on so many other things besides loving one another. Even on Facebook today, there's I responded to that article about saying if 80% of people wore masks, that we wouldn't have to, and my response to that was like, as a healthy person, why would I want to be forced to wear a mask on my day-to-day life? The burden is on you as an unhealthy person to stay at home if you want to.
When in recorded human history have we quarantined healthy people?
Well, and that's the thing. But I mean, but then kind of going back to your point, like then I struggle with, was my response Christ-like? He would have done something way better. I don't even know what, but but there's some response in between those two that I even miss, on a day-to-day basis because I struggle and because I have the thoughts and the biases and everything that I do. And I am convicted of that more and more just as I continue to live life. I don't like, I'm a, I don't know if you remember, and I don't think I was as much like this when I was kind of in that youth role, but I am very much an apologist. Like if you make a statement and I feel that it is the unpopular thing, I will probably take the opposite viewpoint as you, because I think that it is extremely important as we continue to live that we don't know everything. Videos that we see on the internet don't show everything. I'm not saying that you should have a positive or negative reaction to any of those, but there's so many things that we don't know. And when you talk about the coronavirus, there's so many things that we don't know about the coronavirus. It's hard to truly make a judgment call and say, well, should we do this or should we do that? And you kind of go back to the science of it. And I'll have to admit, I probably haven't studied much of the science of it at all, but it kind of goes back to making me wonder, like, all of these things are distractions, and they're distractions from what we should be doing, which is preaching the gospel. And I can tell you for certainly that a lot of my responses on Facebook don't preach the gospel, whether it be towards my Christian friends or towards my non-Christian friends. And that's what I'm convicted more and more of, is it's just like, we missed the boat. Like you said, we missed the boat in so many aspects of our life. So.
No, you're right. And an old friend of mine, Brittany, joining us. How are you, sweetie? Good to see you. I hope you're well. Mike Herring's still with us, and I meant to comment on him earlier. You remember Mike? I know you.
Dude, I
remember
love Mike. I want Mike to build me a Corvette. Mike, if you're listening, man.
Mike is listening, and I want to tell Mike something right now. I'll never forget you and I riding on a bus together in high school to a football game my senior year. And I remember the man that you were. I'll never forget who you were. And I just want you to know, buddy, there's no one in my life that I'm prouder of than you. And I've been meaning to tell you that for a long time, and so I'm going to take this opportunity now while I'm sitting here looking at your face. And I hoped you would stay on long enough for me to get to it. But Mike, dude, the way you father that kid of yours, I hope to get to meet you one day, or meet him one day rather, and see you again one day. But man, you're an inspiration to me, and I mean that, and I absolutely mean that. So, Mike Herring, I'm so proud of you. Seriously, from who you were to who you are it's an incredible testament to Jesus Christ, no doubt about that. So, no, look, it is. We've gone 45 minutes today, which is where we normally put our long marker on the end. Yep. I have a live stream. We're going to help a church get their live stream going this afternoon, so I need to get headed that way. But I have an idea for you, Ron, and I'm going to put you on the spot here at the last minute. So down here, and when I left Northern Virginia, I didn't realize there were other denominations than one.
What?
And then I came to the South. You are the guy to have the denominational talk with, because you get it. You've said things. I don't know if you realize what you've said throughout some of the course of this podcast, but some of the things you said were very gospel centered, but might not be as, churches have party lines too. Let's be clear. Okay. And one thing I've been taking on since I got saved some 6 years ago was what is accurate and inaccurate. And I'm not going to pass, look, this is not about being right and wrong, okay? This is about two guys that have a similar upbringing and have landed in two very different places, having a conversation about I think it would be a really cool, maybe not a live stream, maybe that's just a podcast release, so that if it if it doesn't go well, we can scrub it. But I just feel like, I don't know, man, I'm just sitting here talking to you and I'm like, ooh, the denomination conversation would be a good one to have, and Ronald would be a good one to have it with.
Well, because I'm super smart when it comes to all the denominations, so what do you mean, like when you say denomination conversation? I mean, give me a 10-second thought.
Okay, you're Church of Christ, and I went to Baptist. Like when I got here, I got saved in a Baptist church. I want to have that conversation. You know the conversation I'm talking about.
Yeah, let's have the conversation that you're not going to heaven anymore by going to Baptist. That's the
There he
conversation
is.
you want to have?
There he is.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the
Yeah.
one. That's the one I want to have.
All right, I can have that conversation.
But I want to have it in a way that is super convincing that I'm not good. No, I'm kidding. I want to. I mean, seriously, I want to talk because I think a lot of people, like where I live now, is very denominationally segregated. We're racially segregated on Sundays, but we're also denominationally segregated. And I don't know what it looks like in Northern Virginia. I would hope that the Southern mentality is one of just hold on to everything old and so I would hope that things have moved there as well. But again, I would like to talk through, honestly, if I could quantify it, I would say what is salvation oriented? What is the difference in saving in your soul and not? Because outside of that, it's preference. And it's okay to have different preferences. It's okay to worship in a different way. It's okay to.
I like a cappella music still.
And I can't stand it. And so at the end of the day, like I play guitar on Sunday morning. And so I know the sixth string is going to send me straight to the pits.
Yes.
But no, I don't know. I just wanted to throw it out there. Maybe it's a terrible idea, but I'm full of terrible ideas.
Man. I mean, I definitely grew up in Church of Christ. There was a Baptist church down the road. There was a Methodist church right across the street from us. And and I can't say that any of our church leadership, hated and despised those people. But when I had friends from the Baptist church that invited me to their church, I can remember specifically my dad having a talk with me. Now, Ronald, I'm going to let you go, but you have to know that some of the things they believe just aren't biblical and they're not right. And we just need to, it's like almost like, guarding me against, some evil foe out there.
Here's the thing, though. Your dad wasn't wrong. Your dad wasn't wrong. But guess what? The Church of Christ has some unbiblical teachings that they've got to work through as well.
Yeah.
And that's the kicker. That's where people lose their minds is like, no, but by the way, there's not a denomination out here that is inherently accurate 100%. It just doesn't happen. You know why? Human beings. You know who created denominations?
All humans are imperfect?
You know who created denominations? I can see this. Dude, this is the characters we need to play. We were talking about this the other day. These are the characters we need to play. We need to play the staunch Baptist and the like this wasn't sweet tea, but no one has to know because I'm, I didn't buy it in public, right? So I'm Baptist. I can drink as long as nobody finds out. And so, no, but like two guys were sitting around and they wanted to start a church. They were like, hey, Ronald, hey, buddy, you want to start a church? Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Sounds good. Cool. What do you want to call it? How about the Rozak Church of Christ? Sounds great. I love that. The Church of Christ. That's a solid name. Let's go with that. Okay. How are we going to do tithing? How are we going to do tithing? Well, I mean, I think Jesus Tax starts at 10 and we go up from there. Okay, sounds good. What about communion? Every Sunday or no? Every Sunday for sure. Okay, music. How about a cappella? No, man, we got to have a guitar. What? No, man, a cappella.
Yeah.
No, we got to have a guitar.
Zach, I'm out. Can't do that.
That's right. No, but Ronald, but it's just a guitar, Ronald. We're going to worship with the gifts God gave us. You can't.
Did Jesus have a guitar, Zach? Did he even play?
He played a harp. He played a harp. It had strings. It was more than 6, but it had strings. I'm just saying.
I think it was an imaginary harp at best.
Well, he didn't drink wine either, but that's neither here nor there. And so then Ronald and Zach, Rozak Church of Christ becomes Ronald's Church of Christ and Zach's Baptist Church. And Zach's Baptist Church, we're going to play music by God because that's what we want to do. And guess what? Ronald and Zach both and the members of their church going to heaven. Going to heaven. Right. Going to heaven. And that's
right.
Well, we just had the whole conversation in 1 minute. Oh, you froze. You froze.
I even have a podcast about it.
Oh, there you are. You're back.
Am I back?
No, you're back. Yeah.
So why even have a podcast about it? We just solved.
No, we just did.
Solved the world's issues.
I retract my previous statement. We are no longer going to go down that path because we just solved it.
That's right. Everybody's going to walk away from this podcast thinking, "Wow, all the issues have been solved." No, Ronald and Zach for president and vice president.
That's right.
We'll have
Wait. You said Ronald and Zach, president, vice president. Ronald. It would be Zach and Ronald, president and vice president.
Zach, we don't have to hash that out right here. But the most important piece would be Steve Cogdell as Secretary of State.
I was thinking National Security Director, but either way. Did you not see that? Did you not see those screens?
That's right. He could double.
Oh, man. Dude, I've had a good time catching up with you, buddy. And we definitely need to do this more often because
man, anytime.
It's comfortable. It's fun. We can get into whatever, hopefully. And we still haven't made an announcement yet. And we have one to make, but we're not going to make it today. Hopefully tomorrow I'll be able to tell you guys what's going on moving forward. I think you're all going to be excited to be able to catch us at a new time on a new medium in a new new place. And so if that tells you anything, then hopefully you'll be excited to hear this. And Ronald may have to start waking up a whole lot earlier to have these conversations. But that's neither here nor there. In the meantime, Ronald, as always, buddy.
Thanks you, sir. I appreciate it. Can't thank you enough.
Man,
appreciate it.
I love you, buddy. I love doing this. Connor, as always, it's been a pleasure, my friend. Are you? I mean, what are your thoughts on today? Connor's over there, just like the steam's rolling out of his ears.
He's probably asleep.
That was a lot. He had a wide-ranging conversation, and I've got a lot of highlight material.
There we go. So, Ronald, you did your job, and that's all that matters. Listen,
you.
in the meantime, if you do not subscribe to the podcast on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Google, wherever you can find podcasts, you should do that. Hometown Heartbeat with Zach Walker. Catch the replay on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you can. Just search Hometown Heartbeat with Zach Walker and subscribe. Guys, we love you so much. We look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow, 3 o'clock. We'll be right back here. In the meantime, Ronald, peace out, my friend.
Thanks again, Zach.
Yes, sir. Talk to you guys later. Connor, take it away, buddy.